Las Vegas, Nevada. Foreclosure City. We received hundreds of emails, almost close to 1,000, regarding the effects, ramifications that AB 284 is causing on our market. We've heard many different views of it, but today we're here to talk about a specific event that could become a trend in Las Vegas. The special exemptions in title policy exempting AB 284 language. Now, more specific, I'll let Steve Esparza here speak about exactly what happened. You purchased a home that was purchased at the courthouse, tried to close on it, and then when it came to closing, there was an original title policy and then a revised title policy that had the 284 exemption in there, and I'll let you go.
Yeah, Steve. So what basically was is that we received, like I said, the original prelim. They revised it for another issue, and then when we got the revised prelim, we see this exemption 18, which basically has the verbiage addressing the AB 284 and its consequences.
So this verbiage here, this is coming from basically the title manager of the entire country, correct? And his verbiage here is very concerning. This is from the manager of the title department for the title policies of the entire country. And there's a potential for the foreclosure to be overturned, thereby nullifying our policy and the deed to the buyer. Not only did you protect your buyer, but your information that you're sharing with us is going to help us protect our buyers and our purchasers that buy potential homes from the trustees. And this is still new. This could affect other properties too. I appreciate this. This is something that your client definitely owes you for paying attention to this, because this was a revised edition from the original title policy. So basically the title policy is stating that they're not going to, it's an exemption. So if a lawsuit happens, or if the former owner comes back on you, or your purchaser, your buyer, they're not going to cover that. So you're on your own.
They're on their own. They're not going to indemnify us for any lawsuits. If a claim is actually taken up by the former owner of the property that was foreclosed upon,
right,
we could actually see, my client could actually see him in court and having to pay all the legal fees attached to a court suit.
So Steve, let me get this correct, because this is definitely a new twist for our industry. So regarding this property, the notice of default was filed before October 1st. The house was foreclosed on December 2nd. You purchased, your client purchased that home. The title policy came in clean. Then there was a revised policy that was sent. Luckily, you were paying attention to cover your client. And there was an AB 284 exemption in there. Now, with that AB 284 exemption, your client is no longer able to purchase this property with this title company, Clear Title, correct?
They added an exception which referenced Assembly Bill 284. And obviously, this became a big concern of mine. I notified my buyer just how extreme this was. And their response was that, and I'm paraphrasing this, is that we have to show this exemption because of new Assembly Bill 284 that states that the lender who forecloses must be able to prove that all assignments under the deed of trust in question are accounted for. And since one of the assignments under the foreclosure on the deed of trust was executed by Mears, who was acting as nominee for the lender, and not done by the lender itself, then they might have a hard time proving that all the proper assignments are there in case the foreclosure is challenged. Well, this is groundbreaking news. I mean, this is hot off the press. This affects, obviously, my buyer's resale value in the property. If he amenitized the property, what if it gets overturned? What if he has a claim and he's on his own? It basically states that if there's a lawsuit brought forth by the previous owner, original owner of this property that was foreclosed upon, that he's stuck with the legal fees in defending himself on this. So we've went up in arms over this, asked them to delete this exemption, and they came back with that response. Also, they clarified exactly what could happen without the legalese in there, and basically stated that this is a potential for the foreclosure to be overturned, therefore nullifying our policy and the deed to the buyer. I mean, it doesn't get more obvious than that.
Okay, so just to clarify this, because this obviously is new to Las Vegas, it's a new law and it's a consequence that has never happened before because this law was just enacted October 1st. And those not familiar with the law, there's a lot of information regarding the law. But basically what we're stating here, what this title policy is stating here is, if the former owner chooses to sue the bank for wrongfully foreclosing based on the AB 284 and based on MERS, they bring up MERS in here in the exemption, your seller, your buyer, if brought up in the lawsuit, will have to pay his own legal fees. And if the court finds that he was, that the former owner was illegally foreclosed on because the paperwork wasn't correct, your owner, your buyer, could actually lose his property. At the very least, he's going to have to pay legal fees to protect his property because now he's actually being made aware of the situation that there could be a problem because it was brought to him by the title company. And the exact verbiage, well, I'm going to paraphrase, but the beginning of the verbiage is, we have to show this exemption because of a new Assembly Bill AB 284 that states that the lender who forecloses must be able to approve all the assignments. That's just part of the paraphrase of what we're discussing today, and it leaves you.
It leaves my client open to a lawsuit and obviously a cloud on the title. And there was some additional clarification put in there, and this was paraphrasing also this response by the title manager. There's a potential for the foreclosure to be overturned, therefore nullifying our policy and the deed to the buyer. So I mean, that's as that's as onerous as it gets.
Yeah, and this is not coming from a guru or an expert. This is actually coming from the national underwriter for this title company, and this title company is one of the largest in the country. So hopefully this is not a trend, but for this title company and this particular property and properties that are affected by this MERS and the AB 284, this is going to be a problem. What we're going to find out soon is if lenders will lend on a property that doesn't have clear title, because this is a clouded title. And luckily, you caught this. This could have been a huge problem for you down the road, because what could have happened is with the class action lawsuit, this former homeowner could be part of a class action lawsuit. In that class action lawsuit, not only will the bank may be liable for this, the bank that foreclosed, but your homeowner may have to pay fees just to defend that, hey, I didn't know about this, or yes, I did know about it. Well, now that your homeowner does know about this because they're signing a piece of paper that says, yeah, this could happen. And the national underwriter, the title manager, stated that there is potential for foreclosure to be overturned, thereby nullifying our policy and the deed to the buyer.
I mean, it doesn't get any uglier than that.
Yeah.
So it's crazy language, but it's kind of the sign of our times today.
Yeah, this is the kind of ramifications that need to be taken care of real quick that AB 284 has caused for our economy. This could be a huge hit to the real estate industry. Hopefully, this is taken care of on a timely basis, because there's no person in their right mind, even though the likelihood of your buyer losing the house, the likelihood of them having to pay to defend a lawsuit or defend because they're part of a class action lawsuit that they had nothing to do with. And we already know the class action lawsuits are being filed. They're being filed against MERS. So we know that in the future there's a high likelihood that this is going to be part of a class action lawsuit. And if your title doesn't cover it, then you can't purchase this
There's
property.
just tremendous exposure, and the uncertainty also will reduce my buyer's potential resale value on the property, obviously.
Right.
And so, yeah, it has a lot of ramifications.